There is a kind of prison that does not have walls, does not have guards, and does not have a lock. And yet it holds you tighter than anything else ever could. It is the prison of perfection. And if you are a Virgo, you already know exactly what I am talking about. You have spent years, maybe even decades, trying to get everything just right. The right words, the right timing, the right way to fold a conversation so nobody gets hurt. You have been the one who notices what everyone else misses, the one who fixes what nobody else bothers to fix, the one who carries the invisible weight of making sure everything runs smoothly. And where has it gotten you? Exhausted, overlooked, wondering why you give so much and receive so little in return. But here is the thing nobody has told you yet, and I mean nobody. That trap you have been living inside, the one built from your own impossible standards, you are finally ready to escape it. Not because someone is coming to rescue you, but because something deep inside you has shifted. You feel it, do you not? That quiet stirring that says, enough. I deserve more than being the one who holds it all together while falling apart in silence. Stay with me through every single tip in this video, because what I am about to share is going to change the way you see yourself, your relationships, and your entire future. Tip 1. You have been confusing control with safety, and it has been costing you everything. Let me tell you something that might sting a little at first, but I promise you it will set something free inside of you. For most of your life, you have believed that if you could just control enough variables, if you could just anticipate every problem, manage every outcome, and prepare for every scenario, then you would finally be safe. You have lived your entire life running calculations in the background like a machine that never powers down, always scanning for what could go wrong, so you can fix it before it happens. And on the surface, that looks like wisdom. It looks like being responsible. It even looks like strength. But here is the truth that nobody around you has had the courage to say. It is not strength. It is fear wearing a very convincing disguise. You have been so terrified of things falling apart that you never gave them the chance to come together on their own. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you stepped in to manage a situation that would have resolved itself if you had simply stepped back? How many relationships have you quietly suffocated by trying to control the tone, the pace, the direction of every single interaction? You did not do it out of malice. You did it because somewhere along the way, you learned that the only way to avoid pain was to stay 3 steps ahead of it at all times. And that lesson served you once, maybe when you were young and the world felt unpredictable and nobody was there to catch you. But that lesson has expired. It no longer fits the person you are becoming. The truth is, real safety does not come from control. It never did. Real safety comes from trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, trust in the idea that even if something goes sideways, you have the resilience and the intelligence to handle it. You have survived every single difficult thing that has ever happened to you. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every moment where the ground dropped out from under your feet. You are still here. You are still standing. And that is not because you controlled your way through it. It is because something inside you is far stronger than your need to manage everything. Starting now, I want you to practice something that will feel deeply uncomfortable at first. I want you to let something be imperfect. Not in a big dramatic way, not by blowing up your life or abandoning your responsibilities. Just in small, quiet ways. Let a conversation end without you fixing it. Let a plan unfold without you checking on it 12 times. Let someone else make a decision without you hovering in the background making sure they get it right. And when that wave of anxiety hits you, and it will hit you, I want you to breathe through it and remind yourself of this. I am safe even when I am not in control. Say that to yourself until it stops feeling like a lie and starts feeling like the truth it has always been. This is not about becoming careless. You could never be careless, it is simply not in your nature. This is about releasing the death grip you have had on every aspect of your life, and discovering that the world does not collapse when you loosen your hold. In fact, something miraculous happens when you let go. Space opens up. Space for joy, for surprise, for the kind of spontaneous beauty that can only exist when you stop trying to orchestrate every single moment. You have been so busy directing the play that you forgot to actually live in it. That changes now. Tip 2. The standard you hold others to is the same one that is destroying you from the inside. Here is something I need you to really sit with because it is going to unlock a pattern you have been blind to for years. You have incredibly high standards. You know this about yourself. You expect excellence, you expect effort, you expect people to follow through on what they say they are going to do. And honestly, there is nothing wrong with that. The world needs people who care about quality, notice the details, who refuse to accept mediocrity when something better is possible. But here is where it gets dangerous for you, and I mean genuinely dangerous in a way that affects your health, your happiness, and your ability to connect with the people you love. The standard you hold others to is the exact same standard you hold yourself to. And while you might give other people a second chance, or at least pretend to, you never give yourself one. When someone else makes a mistake, you might feel disappointed, but you move on. When you make a mistake, you replay it in your mind for weeks, months, sometimes years. You dissect it from every angle. You imagine all the ways it could have gone differently if you had just been smarter, faster, more prepared. You punish yourself with a ruthlessness that you would never, ever direct at another human being. And you have been doing this for so long that you do not even recognize it as cruelty anymore. Just feels like being responsible. Just feels like being honest with yourself. But let me be very clear about something. What you are doing to yourself is not honesty. It is violence. Quiet, invisible, socially acceptable violence. You are at war with your own humanity, and the weapon you are using is perfectionism. Every time you tell yourself you should have known better, every time you spiral into self-criticism over something that any reasonable person would have already forgiven and forgotten, you are chipping away at the foundation of who you are. And the worst part is nobody can see it happening, because you are so good at holding it together on the outside. You smile, you show up, you keep performing at a level that impresses everyone around you. Meanwhile, inside, you are exhausted and hollow and wondering why nothing you do ever feels like it is enough. I want you to hear this, and I want you to really let it land. You are enough. Not when you get the promotion. Not when you lose the weight. Not when you finally organize your entire life into some perfect system that runs without a single flaw. You are enough right now, in this moment, with all your imperfections and unfinished business and messy, complicated humanness. The standard you have been holding yourself to was never realistic. It was never even desirable. It was a survival mechanism, a way to earn love and approval in a world that taught you those things had to be earned rather than freely given. You deserve to rest. You deserve to make mistakes without turning them into evidence of your inadequacy. You deserve to look in the mirror and see someone worthy of compassion, not someone who needs to try harder. And I know that feels almost impossible right now. I know that every fiber of your being is resisting what I am saying, because if you accept it, if you truly accept that you are enough as you are, then what was all that suffering for? What were all those sleepless nights and anxious mornings and brutal self-assessments for? And the answer is, they were for survival. They got you here, but they cannot take you where you are going. The next chapter of your life requires a different kind of strength. Not the strength of perfection, but the strength of self-acceptance. And you are ready for it, even if you do not believe that yet. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. You have been shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable, and that era is over. There is a version of you that the world has never met. Not because that version does not exist, but because you have spent your entire life carefully editing yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for the fullness of who you actually are. You have dimmed your intelligence so people would not feel threatened. You have swallowed your opinions so people would not feel challenged. You have made yourself smaller, quieter, more agreeable, more manageable. All because somewhere deep inside you there is a voice that says if they see the real you, they will leave. If they see how much you notice, how deeply you think, how precisely you see through their excuses and their pretenses, they will not be able to handle it. And so you hide. Not behind walls, but behind a carefully constructed version of yourself that is just palatable enough to be accepted. And let me tell you something. That carefully constructed version is exhausting to maintain. You know this. You feel it every single day. The energy it takes to monitor yourself, to second-guess every word before it leaves your mouth, to calculate how much truth you can share without making someone uncomfortable. It is draining you dry. You go home at the end of the day and you feel hollow, not because you gave too much, but because you gave a version of yourself that is not even real. You performed a role instead of living a life. And the worst part, the truly heartbreaking part, is that the people around you have no idea. They think they know you. They think the person they interact with is the whole picture. But it is not. It is barely even a sketch. The real you, the unfiltered, unedited, full volume you, has opinions that would change conversations, has insights that would shift perspectives, has a way of seeing the world that is so precise and so honest that it would make people uncomfortable, yes, but it would also make them better. You have been withholding a gift from the world because you were taught that gifts like yours are too sharp, too critical, too much. But here is what I need you to understand. The world does not need you to be less. The world needs you to be more. More honest, more visible, more willing to take up space without apologizing for every square inch you occupy. This does not mean you need to become aggressive or confrontational. That is not who you are, and it never will be. But there is a vast, unexplored territory between shrinking yourself into nothing and bulldozing through everyone around you. That territory is called authenticity. It is the space where you speak your truth without cruelty, where you hold your ground without hostility, where you let people see the real you and trust that the right ones will stay. And the ones who leave, they were never really yours to begin with. They were in love with the performance, not the person. And you deserve so much more than being loved for a role you play. Starting today, I want you to practice one small act of unshrinking every single day. Say the thing you normally swallow. Share the observation you usually keep to yourself. Disagree when you actually disagree instead of nodding along to keep the peace. And yes, it will feel terrifying at first. Your heart will race, your palms will sweat. Your mind will immediately start calculating the damage. But here is what you will discover. The damage you have been fearing is almost never as bad as the damage you have been doing to yourself by staying silent. The real catastrophe is not that someone might be upset by your honesty. The real catastrophe is that you might live your entire life as a watered-down version of someone extraordinary. And you are extraordinary. It is time the world found out. Tip 4. Your body has been keeping score, and it is time you finally listened. You have spent years living in your head, analyzing, planning, worrying, organizing, categorizing every single experience through the filter of your mind. And your mind is brilliant, truly brilliant, there is no denying that. But while you have been up there in your thoughts, running your endless calculations and contingency plans, your body has been down here, quietly absorbing everything you refuse to feel. Every emotion you suppressed because it was not the right time. Every hurt you swallowed because showing it would make you look weak. Every moment of rage or grief or longing that you packed away neatly into some internal storage unit and told yourself you would deal with later. Your body has been holding all of it, and it is starting to speak up in ways you can no longer ignore. Maybe it is the tension in your shoulders that never fully releases, no matter how many stretches you do. Maybe it is the stomach problems that flare up every time you are under stress. Maybe it is the headaches, the insomnia, the fatigue that settles into your bones like something permanent and heavy. You have probably been to doctors, maybe several of them, looking for an explanation that fits neatly into a diagnosis. And maybe they found something, or maybe they told you everything looks fine and you went home feeling more frustrated than before, because you know something is not fine. Something has not been fine for a long time. What I am about to say is not a substitute for medical advice, and I want to be clear about that. But what I am going to suggest is that your body is not just a machine that needs the right fuel and the right maintenance schedule. Your body is a living record of your emotional history. It remembers what your mind has tried to forget. It holds the tension of every argument you refuse to have, every tear you refuse to cry, every scream you swallowed because screaming would have been too messy, too dramatic, too imperfect for someone like you. And until you start addressing what your body is holding, no amount of supplements or exercise routines or sleep optimization is going to fix what is actually wrong. You need to feel what you have been refusing to feel. I know that sounds vague, and I know that for someone as practical as you, it might even sound ridiculous. But consider this. When was the last time you cried? Not a polite tear at a sad movie, but a real messy, ugly cry that came from somewhere so deep you did not even know it existed? When was the last time you let yourself be angry, truly angry, without immediately rationalizing it away or turning it into a calm, measured response? When was the last time you let your body express something without your mind stepping in to edit the performance? Your body needs your attention. Not the kind of attention where you track your steps and count your calories and optimize every input and output like you are managing a very efficient factory. It needs the kind of attention where you sit quietly, put your hand on your chest, and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? And then, here is the hard part, you listen. Without judgment, without analysis, without immediately trying to fix whatever comes up. You just listen. You let whatever is there be there. You give it permission to exist without needing to understand it or categorize it or make it productive somehow. This is going to feel deeply unnatural for you, because your entire life has been built around doing, not being, around fixing, not feeling. But this shift, this willingness to inhabit your body instead of just operating it from a distance, this is where real healing begins. And you need healing, not because you are broken, but because you have been carrying far too much for far too long, and your body is simply asking you to put some of it down. Tip 5. The relationships you have been tolerating are not loyalty, they are self-abandonment. Let us talk about something you have probably never said out loud, but have felt in the quietest, most private corners of your heart. You have stayed in relationships, friendships, and connections that stopped serving you a long time ago. Not because you are weak, and not because you do not know better, but because you have confused endurance with loyalty. You have told yourself that walking away from someone means you failed them, that if you just tried harder, communicated better, adjusted yourself one more time, you could fix what was broken. And so you stayed. You stayed long past the point where staying was noble, and crossed into the territory where it became self-destruction dressed up as devotion. Think about the people in your life right now. Not the ones who obviously love you, but the ones who drain you. The ones who take your advice and never follow it, then come back with the same problem expecting you to solve it again. The ones who only call when they need something but disappear when you are the one who is struggling. The ones who make you feel like you are too much and not enough at the exact same time. You know exactly who I am talking about. You have known for years. But you have kept them in your life because cutting them loose would feel like admitting that all the time and energy you invested was wasted. And for a Virgo, waste is one of the most painful concepts in existence. But here is what you need to understand, and I mean really understand at a cellular level. The time was not wasted. Every relationship, even the ones that drained you, taught you something about yourself. They taught you where your boundaries should have been. They taught you what you will and will not accept. They showed you in vivid detail what happens when you prioritize someone else's comfort over your own well-being. Those lessons are valuable, but the tuition has been paid. You do not need to keep attending the class. Walking away from someone who consistently takes more than they give is not cruelty. It is not selfishness. It is not a failure of your character. It is the most loving thing you can do, both for yourself and for them. Because as long as you keep showing up to fix and manage and carry, they never have to learn how to do those things for themselves. Your over-functioning enables their under-functioning. And the whole dance continues year after year, until one of you finally gets too tired to keep moving. Let that person be you. Be the one who stops the dance. Not with anger, not with a dramatic confrontation, but with a quiet, steady decision to redirect your energy toward people and places where it is truly valued. You do not owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. You do not owe anyone your presence just because they have grown accustomed to it. You owe yourself a life that feels spacious, not suffocating. And that life begins the moment you stop filling it with people who only want you for what you can do for them, not for who you actually are. The relationships that are meant for you will not require you to shrink, perform, or exhaust yourself to maintain them. They will feel like breathing. They will feel like coming home. And they are waiting for you on the other side of the ones you need to release. Tip 6. You have been using productivity as a shield against feeling, and it is time to put it down. If there is one thing a Virgo knows how to do, it is stay busy. You have elevated productivity to an art form, maybe even a religion. There is always a list, always a project, always something that needs organizing or optimizing or completing. And from the outside, it looks admirable. People marvel at how much you get done, how efficient you are, how you seem to have some secret reserve of energy that the rest of the world does not possess. But we both know the truth, do we not? The productivity is not about getting things done. It is about not having to feel things. As long as you are busy, you do not have to sit with the loneliness that creeps in during quiet moments. As long as there is another task to complete, you do not have to confront the grief you have been carrying since something precious was taken from you. As long as your hands are moving and your mind is occupied, you can outrun the questions that terrify you most. Am I happy? Am I living the life I actually want? Have I spent all these years building something that does not even belong to me? Busyness is your anesthesia. It numbs you just enough to keep functioning without ever having to deal with the raw, unfiltered reality of your emotional life. And for a long time that worked. It got you through seasons that might have otherwise destroyed you. It kept you upright when the ground was shaking beneath your feet. But what served you as a survival strategy has calcified into something else entirely. It has become a cage. And the bars are made of to-do lists and routines and the relentless pressure to always be doing something. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine an entire afternoon with absolutely nothing on your calendar. No tasks, no errands, no obligations. Just open, unstructured time stretching out in front of you. How does that image make you feel? If the answer is anxious, uncomfortable, or even panicked, then you have your proof. The productivity is not serving you anymore. It is controlling you. You have become so dependent on the dopamine hit of crossing things off your list that you have forgotten how to simply exist without a purpose attached to every single moment. Here is what I am going to challenge you to do, and I know it will be one of the hardest things you have ever attempted. I want you to schedule time to do absolutely nothing. Not rest that is designed to make you more productive later. Not meditation with a goal attached. Not a walk that you track on an app so it counts as exercise. I mean genuine, purposeless, gloriously unproductive nothing. Sit on your porch and watch the light change. Lie on your bed and listen to the sounds outside your window. Let your mind wander wherever it wants to go, even if it goes somewhere that hurts. Because the feelings you have been running from, they are not going to destroy you. I know it feels like they will. I know your nervous system has been screaming that if you stop moving for even 1 second, everything you have been holding back will come flooding in and sweep you away. But that is a lie your fear has been telling you. The truth is, feelings are temporary. They rise, they peak, they pass. The only thing that makes them dangerous is the refusal to feel them. Because unfelt emotions do not disappear. They accumulate. They compound. They manifest as tension, illness, irritability, numbness, and that pervasive sense of emptiness that haunts you even on your most productive days. Put the shield down. You do not need it anymore. What you need is to feel your life, not just manage it. Tip 7. You have been waiting for permission to want what you want, and nobody is coming to give it to you. There is a dream inside you that you have never spoken out loud. Maybe you have barely even spoken it to yourself. It lives in the margins of your daily life, in the quiet moments before sleep, in the daydreams you cut short because they feel too indulgent, too impractical, too much for someone who is supposed to be grounded and realistic. You know what it is. You might have known for years, maybe decades, but you have never given yourself permission to want it fully, openly, without immediately attaching a list of reasons why it is impossible or irresponsible or not something someone like you should be pursuing. This is one of the deepest wounds a Virgo carries, and most people do not even realize it is a wound. You have internalized the idea that wanting things for yourself, not for others, not for practical reasons, but purely because they would make your heart sing, is somehow selfish, frivolous, a luxury that responsible people do not indulge in. And so you have taken your deepest desires and buried them under layers of logic and obligation, and the unshakable belief that your job in this life is to be useful, not fulfilled. Let me say something that might shatter a belief you have held your entire life. Usefulness and fulfillment are not opposites. You do not have to choose between being of service and being happy. In fact, the most profound service you can offer the world comes from a place of deep, authentic fulfillment. When you are doing what you love, when you are aligned with your true purpose, your capacity to help others does not diminish. It multiplies. You become more creative, more energized, more generous, more present. You stop giving from an empty cup and start giving from an overflowing one. But none of that can happen as long as you are waiting for someone else to tell you it is okay to want what you want. You are waiting for your family to approve. You are waiting for society to validate. You are waiting for the perfect moment when all the conditions are right and the risk is minimal and the path is clear. And I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. That moment is never coming. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a risk-free path. There will never be a moment when everyone in your life applauds your decision and tells you to go for it. The permission has to come from you. It has to come from that quiet, stubborn place inside you that knows, despite all the logical arguments against it, that you were meant for something more than just maintaining the machinery of other people's lives. You were meant to create, to explore, to reach for things that scare you and thrill you in equal measure. And the fact that you have been suppressing that knowing for so long does not mean it has gone away. It has just been waiting patiently, faithfully, for you to finally acknowledge it. So here is my question for you, and I want you to sit with it long after this video ends. If you knew with absolute certainty that you could not fail, what would you do? What would you pursue? What conversation would you have? What door would you walk through? That answer, whatever it is, that is your compass. That is the direction your life has been trying to pull you toward while you have been resisting with everything you have. Stop resisting. You have been responsible long enough. It is time to be alive. Tip 8. The criticism you give yourself would be unacceptable if it came from anyone else. I want you to try something with me right now. Think about the last mistake you made. It does not have to be a big one, just something that did not go the way you planned. Now, think about what you said to yourself afterward. Not out loud, but in that private, relentless internal monologue that runs through your mind like a news ticker that never stops scrolling. What were the words? Were they kind? Were they understanding? Were they the words you would use with a friend who made the same mistake? I already know the answer, and so do you. The words were harsh. They were cold. They were the kind of words that, if anyone else said them to you, you would recognize immediately as cruel. You would be hurt. You might even cut that person out of your life for speaking to you that way. And yet, when those exact same words come from inside your own mind, you accept them without question. You let them move through you like poison, corroding your confidence, your self-worth, your ability to enjoy anything you have accomplished, because all you can focus on is the one thing you got wrong. This internal critic of yours, this voice that has been running commentary on every aspect of your life since you were young, it is not who you are. It is a character you created, or more accurately, a character that was created for you by circumstances that demanded you be vigilant, be careful, be better than you were at all times. Maybe it was a parent whose approval you could never quite earn. Maybe it was a teacher who made you feel that your best was never good enough. Maybe it was a culture that measured your value by your output and found you constantly lacking. Whatever the origin, this voice took root inside you and grew until it became indistinguishable from your own thoughts. But it is not you. It is a habit. And like all habits, it can be changed. Not overnight, not with positive affirmations you do not believe, not by pretending the critical thoughts do not exist, but through a gradual, consistent practice of catching those thoughts in the moment and asking yourself one simple question. Would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, and it will almost always be no, then why are you saying it to yourself? Are you not deserving of the same compassion you extend so freely to everyone else? You have been your own worst enemy for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to be your own friend. You have forgotten what it feels like to make a mistake and simply say, well, that did not work. Let me try something different. Without the self-flagellation, without the spiral, without the hours of mental replay where you torture yourself with all the ways you could have, should have, would have done it better. I am not asking you to lower your standards. I am asking you to apply them with grace instead of brutality. I am asking you to treat your mistakes as data, not as evidence of your fundamental inadequacy. I am asking you to speak to yourself the way you would speak to a child who is trying their very best and sometimes stumbling along the way. Because that is what you are doing. You are trying your best. And your best has always been remarkable, even when your inner critic refuses to acknowledge it. From this moment forward, every time that voice rises up with its sharp edges and its impossible standards, I want you to pause and say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I do not need protection from my own humanity. I need to embrace it. That single shift, practiced consistently, will change your entire life. Not because the critic will disappear, but because you will stop giving it the authority to define who you are. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting. It's about moving. Tip 9. You are entering a season where your intuition will be louder than your logic, and you must learn to trust it. For your entire life, you have led with your mind. Logic has been your compass, analysis has been your map, and rational thinking has been the vehicle that carried you through every major decision you have ever made. And that approach has served you well in many ways. You have avoided disasters that less careful people walk straight into. You have made sound choices when emotions might have led you astray. You have built a life that, on paper at least, makes perfect sense. But something is shifting inside you right now, and if you have been paying attention, you have already noticed it. There is a knowing that arises in you that has nothing to do with logic. It does not come from your mind. It comes from somewhere deeper, somewhere older, somewhere that does not deal in evidence and analysis but in pure, unfiltered truth. Call it intuition, call it gut feeling, call it whatever word feels comfortable to you. The point is, this knowing has been getting louder, and your mind has been getting increasingly uncomfortable with it. Because your intuition does not play by the rules your mind has established. It does not wait for all the data before reaching a conclusion. It does not build a careful case with supporting evidence and logical arguments. Simply knows. And that drives the analytical part of you absolutely wild. How can you trust something that cannot be measured, cannot be verified, cannot be reduced to a spreadsheet or a checklist? How can you make decisions based on a feeling when feelings are, by their very nature, irrational and unreliable? Here is the answer, and it might surprise you. Your intuition is not irrational. It is a different kind of intelligence, one that processes information at a speed and depth that your conscious mind simply cannot match. It draws on every experience you have ever had, every pattern you have ever observed, every subtle cue you have ever registered without being consciously aware of it. Your intuition is not the absence of logic. It is the culmination of it. It is every calculation your mind has ever made, compressed into an instant knowing that arrives fully formed without needing to show its work. The season you are entering now is asking you to honor that knowing. Not to abandon your analytical mind, never that, but to create space beside it for this other intelligence to have a voice. When your gut tells you something is wrong, even though everything looks fine on the surface, listen. When you feel drawn toward a person, an opportunity, or a direction that makes no logical sense, explore it. When something inside you says no, even though you cannot articulate why, respect it. This is going to require a kind of courage that is different from any you have practiced before. The courage to act without certainty. The courage to trust yourself even when you cannot explain yourself. The courage to say, I do not know why this feels right, but I am going to follow it anyway. For someone who has built their entire identity around being the person with the answers, this level of surrender feels terrifying. But it is also the doorway to a kind of wisdom that your mind alone could never access. Your intuition has been waiting for this moment. It has been whispering to you for years, and you have been shushing it because it did not fit neatly into your system. But the system is expanding now. You are expanding now. And the version of you that emerges from this expansion will be more powerful, more aligned, and more at peace than any version that came before. Trust the knowing, even when it does not make sense. Especially when it does not make sense. Tip 10. The legacy you are building is not what you think it is. When you think about what you will leave behind, what comes to mind? Is it the projects you completed, the problems you solved, the systems you created? Is it the career you built, the home you maintained, the tasks you checked off your ever-present list? If you are like most Virgos, your idea of legacy is deeply tied to what you have done, the tangible, measurable evidence of your effort and competence. And while those things matter, they are not your real legacy. Not even close. Your real legacy is the way you make people feel. It is the calm that enters a room when you enter it. It is the quiet reassurance that radiates from your presence. The unspoken message that everything is going to be all right, because you are here, and you will figure it out. It is the way you listen, really listen, when someone is speaking, not just waiting for your turn to talk, but truly absorbing what they are saying and making them feel seen and heard in a way that very few other people can. That is your legacy. Not what you did, but who you were to the people who needed you. And here is the part that might make you uncomfortable. That legacy, the one built on presence and compassion and genuine human connection, it does not require perfection. It does not require you to have all the answers or to execute every task flawlessly. In fact, some of the most profound moments of connection you will ever experience will come from your imperfections. From the moments when you let someone see that you are struggling too. From the times when you admit that you do not know the answer. From the beautiful, terrifying vulnerability of being human in front of another human, without any pretense or performance. You have been so focused on doing everything right that you have underestimated the power of simply being yourself. Not the polished, perfected, carefully curated version of yourself, but the real one. The one who gets tired. The one who sometimes feels overwhelmed. The one who has doubts and fears and moments of absolute uncertainty about everything. That version of you is not a liability. It is a gift. Because when you let people see that version, you give them permission to be imperfect too. And in a world that is constantly demanding more, faster, better from everyone, That permission is the most valuable thing you can offer. Think about the people who have mattered most in your life. The ones whose memory brings warmth to your chest and moisture to your eyes. Was it their achievements that made them unforgettable? Was it their efficiency, their organization, their ability to execute tasks with precision? Or was it something far simpler and far more profound? Was it the way they looked at you? The way they made you feel like you mattered, not for what you could do, but simply because you existed? That is the legacy you are building with every interaction, every conversation, every moment of genuine presence. And the beautiful irony is that it requires nothing more than what you already are. You do not need to achieve more, accumulate more, or optimize more. You just need to show up, fully, authentically, and perfectly you. The world does not need another perfect person. It needs you exactly as you are, with all your cracks and edges and beautiful, complicated humanness. That is enough. It has always been enough. And I need you to know that the people who matter, the ones who truly see you, they already know this. They have known it all along. The only person left to convince is you. And something tells me, after everything you have heard today, that convincing is finally beginning to take root. So here is what I want to leave you with, and I want these words to settle deep into the quietest part of your heart, the part you have been protecting for so long. You are not your productivity. You are not your usefulness. You are not the sum of your accomplishments or the quality of your output. You are a living, breathing, infinitely worthy human being who has spent far too long earning a place in a world that was always yours to occupy freely. The perfection trap you have been living in. It was real. The walls were high, the standards were impossible, and the voice inside your head was relentless. But you are stepping out of it now. Not all at once, not in some dramatic, cinematic moment of transformation, but in small, steady, courageous steps. Every time you choose compassion over criticism, rest over productivity, authenticity over performance, you are walking further and further from that trap and closer to the life that has been waiting for you all along. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of a version of you that is gentler with yourself, braver in your honesty, more willing to be seen, more willing to be imperfect, more willing to trust that the universe is not going to punish you for being human. You have been extraordinary in your effort. Now it is time to be extraordinary in your surrender. Surrender the need to control everything. Surrender the belief that you are only as valuable as what you produce. Surrender the impossible standards that have kept you small and safe and exhausted. The world is waiting for the version of you that exists on the other side of that surrender. And I promise you, with everything I have, that version is magnificent. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.